I'm Ryan Yamamoto. This is the minute. 2 children killed in a car crash in Napa, and their mother is now in custody, accused of driving under the influence. The Nissan sedan crashed into a tree on southbound Highway 29 at the Amola Avenue off-ramp yesterday morning. The CHP believes the combination of alcohol, speed, and drugs were all factors in that crash. New efforts to tackle San Francisco's homeless crisis. Today, Mayor Lurie is signing off on a plan he calls Breaking the Cycle. It's meant to streamline the process of getting people into shelters. It also outlines a framework to provide more services and to measure outcomes. NVIDIA kicking off its conference at the San Jose Convention Center today, showcasing the future of AI. It's called the GTC 2025. It's expected to draw some 25,000 people for a week of lectures and workshops. I'm Ryan Yamamoto. This is The Minute.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Well, it's a cool, cloudy, and wet day for us here in the Bay Area with on and off showers into the forecast throughout this afternoon. We will catch a break around lunchtime, but the atmosphere is still unstable, and we could see some thunderstorm activity into the evening hours tonight, widespread throughout the Bay Area. So we're going to see lots of on and off showers today, amounting close to around 1/100 of an inch of rain all the way up into the North Bay, at least near Fairfield. A little bit more impressive numbers all the way down into San Jose. Ben Lomond getting closer to 1/10 of an inch, but at least this system, as it continues to track to the south, moves off and we dry up as we head into our Tuesday forecast right around the corner tomorrow. It leaves behind snow to the Sierra, rain for us here in the Bay. We're going to catch a nice dry break tomorrow, but just when you think we're done with the rain, we get another batch of showers rolling in as we head into our Wednesday setup. And the characteristics are different with this system. It's more like a windshield wiper, this cold front sweeping in from offshore Wednesday evening. It'll bring in showers widespread throughout the Bay Area, but luckily it clears up as we head into Wednesday overnight hours, leaving behind cloudy skies for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and by Sunday of next week, we're actually going to see a nice little warm up right around the corner. That will be the next big weather story around the corner. But for now, take a look at this. That's the Bay forecast behind me. Low 60s, cloudy skies as we wrap up this week, heading into this weekend. For our friends in our inland areas, we're sitting in the 50s today, warm up to the mid 60s as we head into Thursday and Friday. And by next week, we're talking about mid to upper 70s as early as Sunday and to Monday. We'll keep you updated on those rainfall totals here in the Bay Area for us today and Wednesday. Luckily, we dry up as we head into a beautiful weekend right around the corner.
Well, today is the first day of early voting in Oakland's special election to choose a new mayor. Registered voters will begin receiving mail-in ballots. 10 people are on the ballot, but 2 have separated themselves from the field, at least on the fundraising front. Longtime Congresswoman Barbara Lee and former city council member Lauren Taylor, who finished second to Sheng Tao in the 2022 mayoral race in ranked choice voting. But now the campaign rhetoric is heating up. Dahlin spoke with some of the organizers behind Tao's recall, who are now launching a new ad against Lee.
Barbara Lee may be popular in Oakland, but as the frontrunner, the target on her back is getting a lot bigger. Some people are now comparing her to former Mayor Sheng Tao.
If you're from the area, you call it 96 and Sunnyside Park. That's where I grew up at, played basketball, got into fights.
And now this East Oakland native is fighting for his city's future. Fed up with crime and homelessness, Dwayne Tatum volunteered a lot of hours last year to recall Mayor Tao.
This is the most important.
Now he's featured in a new ad urging voters to reject Barbara Lee.
Barbara Lee has no city government experience. She does not speak for me. We love and respect her, but the problems that Oakland faces today, we think they're just a little bit too complex for Barbara Lee to be able to come in and really make effective change.
Tatum points out Lee, back in November, urged voters to reject the recall. He reminds voters many labor unions that previously supported Tao are now backing Lee.
I believe it would be a repeat of Sheng Tao's policy. These are both very left-leaning, progressive politicians.
Recall organizers claim Lee doesn't have the right policies to improve public safety.
We're going to be in the same condition that we would have been in had we not recalled Sheng Tao. And I did not recall Sheng Tao to have Sheng Tao 2.0.
But Lee supporters dispute that comparison, saying Lee has integrity, experience, and the ability to unite a divided city.
The town is hurting. not just in terms of our finances, but how we see ourselves and how we come together. We've come through 2 very divisive election cycles, and I believe that she's a unifying candidate who can bring solutions to the table.
Dr. Lynette McElhaney is a former Oakland councilwoman. She says many moderate Democrats, business owners, and people of all backgrounds are standing behind the progressive leader.
Oakland is a leader in this region, and we need someone who can sit at the table on transportation, on climate change, and certainly join the legion of strong leaders across the state to push back against the federal dissolution that we see.
I promise to bring integrity.
Lee's campaign also released a new social media ad this week talking about her years of fighting and representing Oakland on the federal level. Business owner Derek Johnson says not all recall supporters are against Lee. He says many people who voted to oust Tao are supporting Lee.
I'm supporting the Congresswoman because I feel she's the best candidate right now for what we need. Because we need somebody that can restore respectability back to that seat after it's been so damaged, respectability back to our city, and I feel she's the only candidate in this race right now that can do that.
Tatum disagrees, saying Oakland doesn't have a unity problem, it's got a crime problem. He plans to vote for Lauren Taylor next month.
I love my city, and I know that with smart, small steps, we can slowly get there.
And it's not just the mayor's office that's up for grabs next month. Voters will also choose a new city council member for District 2, which includes neighborhoods like Chinatown, Eastlake, and San Antonio. There's also a measure to raise the city's sales tax by ½ a cent. That special election is now set for April 15th. The VTA strike is entering its 2nd week in Santa Clara County. The union representing the workers is expected to provide an update this evening on the negotiation efforts. The Transportation Authority is now asking Governor Newsom to intervene, sending a letter this weekend asking for a fact-finding investigation to help end the strike. It calls for the governor to order drivers and operators back to work while talks continue. 1,500 employees are on strike demanding higher wages and third-party arbitration. The strike has shut down service for 100,000 daily riders across the South Bay. More confusion over the future of federal workers in the country after a judge ruled some of those laid off could be reinstated as early as today. In San Francisco, hundreds of federal workers were protesting the massive cuts made by the Trump administration. This happened outside of City Hall this weekend. Many of them are being impacted by the downsizing and fear for the safety of their jobs.
Nearly everyone I work with is in fear right now. Even giving this interview, I'm afraid. I think there's been a real chilling effect in the way they just summarily terminate people.
I am worried if I don't have a job, we're not going to have health care. I have 2 small kids.
The job cuts come as President Trump moves to rapidly shrink the federal government, saying he's cutting wasteful spending. And federal workers have been enduring the unnerving back and forth. Last month, President Trump fired more than 1,000 national park employees across the country, including a handful across the 9 national parks in the Greater Bay Area. Then on Thursday, a federal judge in San Francisco ruled those workers who are with the Department of the Interior need to be reinstated. As the battle plays out, it's not just layoffs. National parks are also dealing with funding cuts and temporary hiring freezes. And some private groups are now trying to pick up the slack. Our Lauren Toms went to Fort Mason, a national park right here in our backyard, to learn about the potential impact of these cuts.
We're right here in a national park where the views are tremendous. When you look across the bay and you see those hills that are green, they don't have houses on them because people decided it was best for them to be for all of us. The hills, the nature, the birds.
Each day, as Chris Leonards gazes across the Golden Gate National Recreation Area, she's reminded of why these parks are so protected in the first place. But now, deep federal cuts threaten to chip away at the very foundation of that protection. Chris is the president of the Golden Gate National Parks Conservancy, a nonprofit that helps fund education, protection, and restoration efforts within the park. She says while the funding helps with these efforts, it's the people that matter.
You lose a child on a trail, you have to have a park ranger who can go and find that child and reunite them with their family. The Natural Resources Department here lost 7 out of their 10 employees who are biological technicians who monitor the endangered species, who make sure that the conditions of this park are protected and preserved forever. So we're working together with the Park Service to say, what can we do?
More than 1,000 national park workers have been fired nationwide. At least 10 of those were with the Golden Gate National Recreation Area, which spans 90 miles from Marin to San Mateo County. And officials with the Conservancy say 50 more jobs are on the line. A federal hiring freeze could also put crucial summer safety resources like fire protection and the training of search and rescue teams at risk. And that has some park regulars like Misia Serafino worried.
I think we're going to be able to hire firefighters because it makes sense. But as we've found, there isn't a whole lot of logic, unfortunately, right now with the way things are going.
And for volunteers like Kim Harrison, these cuts aren't just about jobs. They're about the safety of visitors, including climbers like herself.
Even if they aren't firing people with this hiring freeze, that means that there are all of these open positions that are not able to, fill these duties, which can have direct impacts on safety of people who are navigating these parks.
And as government funding falters, the pressure to fill in the gaps is increasingly falling to private groups and volunteers like the Golden Gate National Parks Conservancy, who Chris says are up to the task.
I think in a lot of ways, the national parks are kind of a love letter to America. And that love shines through in the way we support those national parks.
Keeping the parks alive through the passion of the people who love them.
And still ahead on CBS News Bay Area, one North Bay County is trying to distance itself from the actions taken by ICE to apprehend someone inside a county building. How they're trying to stop fear from spreading in the community.
These are folks that are really trying to get their life back, and this just further kind of instills fear in our community.
Plus, with so many people struggling with a high cost of housing, cities across the Bay Area are attempting to convert unused office space into homes.
It is the dream. If we could crack that code, I think conversion to residential would solve many of our downtown issues.
We speak to a development expert about why those efforts may be more successful in the suburbs. And they're joining forces to survive, how two neighboring shops in San Francisco help save each other from a post-pandemic drop-off.
to see a lot of instability throughout this afternoon, meaning on and off showers, a chance of thunderstorm activity throughout the afternoon and evening hours tonight. So as you're celebrating your St. Patty's Day, all the festivities going on outside, keep in mind it is still kind of wet out there too. Luckily, we dry up into our forecast tomorrow, leaving behind 1/10 of an inch of rain at max throughout the Bay Area here locally. But that system moves its way to the south, and behind it, it leaves behind plenty of snow to the Sierra, plenty of rain for us here in the Bay. It's going to be a nice dry day for us tomorrow for our Tuesday forecast. Daytime highs right where they should be. It'll be a beautiful sunny day. We get one more day of showers in the forecast as we head into Wednesday, but that one looks a lot different for us, and it happens into the evening hours Wednesday night. I'll have more on this coming up in a bit. For now, over to you.
Well, today, questions mount over the Trump administration's compliance with a court order halting deportations. Trump evoked a rarely used 1798 wartime law to fast-track the deportation of people he says are Venezuelan gang members. The massive deportation was issued under the Alien Enemies Act of 1798. The last time that act was used was during World War II, when 120,000 Japanese Americans on the West Coast were sent to internment camps. Of the 261 people deported Saturday, 137 of them were removed over alleged ties to a Venezuelan gang that has been linked to kidnapping, extortion, and contract killings. Those men were already in the air by the time a judge blocked the move. Back here at home, we're learning more about an ICE agent detained, a man inside the Sonoma County Probation Department, alarming activists and officials who say it fuels fear in immigrant communities. That incident happened on Thursday. Now advocates are pushing for stronger sanctuary policies while county leaders work to address concerns. Suji Nam has the latest.
Sonoma County leaders say Thursday's ICE arrest is the only known public incident at a county lobby. Community activists say this should not be happening and are calling on the county to step up and come forward.
Yeah, and right in here is where the incident happened in the probation department in Sonoma County.
Isabel Lopez, the executive director of nonprofit organization Raíces Collective, says she was disappointed to hear that ICE made an arrest in a county building last week.
These are folks that are really trying to get their life back, support their families, maintain unity with families, and this just further kind of instills fear in our community.
Sonoma County officials say a plainclothed ICE agent entered the probation department and detained a person who was just released from the Sonoma County jail. They added that the person was reporting to the probation officers with a court order before ICE came in and arrested them. We spoke with one immigration defense attorney in Sonoma County.
When there's ICE presence in a county building, especially when it's court ordered to be somewhere, that's going to create fear. That's going to create lack of trust. And otherwise abiding citizens who want to follow the court's orders are not going to go and follow the court orders.
Sonoma County Chief Probation Officer said, quote, "We want to make clear that probation was not involved in coordinating this incident in any way. Probation is focused on public safety and the rehabilitation of clients."
These things are going to continue happening, and again, this is why we need a sanctuary policy in the county.
And that is why Isabel says she's been fighting for the Board of Supervisors to adopt a policy to extend more protection for immigrants by making Sonoma County a sanctuary county.
For example, sheriffs, we do not want them sharing any information with ICE. So that it's a lot to prevent them from sharing any information and having come into these federal offices.
The county, however, released this statement saying, quote, "The incident with ICE was in compliance with SB 54, the California Values Act, which prohibits state and local law enforcement agencies from using their resources to investigate, interrogate, detain, or arrest individuals for immigration enforcement purposes." For activists like Isabel, she says ICE presence only worsens the feeling of safety and security in the community.
Our immigration community is not going to want to report any crimes, especially as they heighten with this new administration and the racism and the hate against the immigrant community.
Meanwhile, the county says that while they won't interfere with lawful arrests, they want to ensure that the community feels safe and that their rights are upheld.
County leaders say that they're offering their employees with more guidance on what they should do if they encounter an ICE agent in county workspaces.
Well, today, the San Francisco Public Utilities Commission is launching its annual fight against erosion along Ocean Beach. Crews will move 40,000 cubic yards of sand from North Ocean Beach to South Ocean Beach to protect its West Side pump station and the East Side treatment plant. Workers will also cover exposed sandbags and remove debris, beach debris. They will use the recently closed Great Highway to transport the sand. Meanwhile, a big show supported Ocean Beach this weekend. More than 100 people came together in the Sunset to repair a mural that was recently vandalized near the Great Highway Park. It was tagged after the section was closed to cars permanently. The artist behind it told us they are looking to put a protective coating over the mural to make it easier to clean if this kind of thing happens again. We spoke with volunteers with the Sunset District who says they are happy to help.
It's beautiful. I mean, it's it's really heartbreaking to hear about it, but this response is amazing, and I think it shows the heart of this neighborhood. You know, we're here to help, and it's going to be a beautiful addition to the park.
Well, organizers plan to continue the cleanup this Wednesday and Friday. If you have State Farm home insurance, get ready for your bills to go up. The state's insurance commissioner has given preliminary approval for the company's largest rate hike in years if it meets certain criteria. The state's largest insurer asked for the emergency rate increase to help its finances in the wake of the Southern California wildfires. Premiums would go up 22% for single-family homes and 15% for condo owners and renters. Insurance Commissioner Ricardo Lara says he will give it final approval if State Farm can prove the rate hike is necessary at the hearing in April. He also asked the insurance company to stop canceling coverage for homeowners in high-risk areas and ask its parent company for $500 million. Even before the LA fires, State Farm had been on shaky financial ground. Well, California desperately in need of new housing. Some Bay Area cities are getting creative. Our John Ramos shows us how one business complex in San Ramon is adapting after the pandemic emptied out office buildings all across the country.
These are tough times for Bishop Ranch. Chevron has moved its global headquarters out of the area, and late last year, human resources company Robert Half International ended its lease, leaving this entire office building vacant with desks and furniture still in it. The Bay Area Council Economic Institute has been studying the issue, and we asked Executive Director Jeff Bellisario to explain what's going on.
Post-pandemic, we are in a new world of remote work, one that is likely permanent in some ways. And I do think that investors, landowners are looking for that. What is the next thing?
At Bishop Ranch, that means pivoting to the future. It was built as an office-only environment, but in 2018 they opened City Center, a retail, dining, and entertainment destination. And now, after the pandemic, with most of the vast parking lots empty, they are reimagining the area as a mixed-use residential community. City Village, a development of single-family homes, recently opened, as well as Belmont Village, a senior living complex. And last week, builder KB Home filed papers with the county saying they purchased this office building for $58 million in order to replace it with more than 100 homes in a housing project called Bartlett.
We want to maximize in our region what we have to solve the problems that we have, right? So housing affordability tends to be our biggest issue. We don't have a ton of land to build new housing, right? So I think just like that idea, it sets the stage for this, which I think is, that type of innovation we need.
And Bellisario says there's a reason they're focusing on a place like San Ramon rather than the larger population centers like San Francisco.
The suburbs seem to be the place that have won out of all this, right? It's the dense metro areas that are very expensive are the ones that are struggling to still recover from the pandemic, where suburban locations, people are wanting a backyard, they want maybe a little bit more affordability. They maybe want to live near where they work. So this idea at Bishop Ranch of combining still office, having the city center there, and now having residential, I think makes a lot of sense.
A lot of people look at the empty office space in the high rises of San Francisco and wonder why they aren't being used as housing. But Bellisario says most office buildings don't have the necessary infrastructure to support a living space, and to try to convert them would be economically unfeasible.
The number of buildings that we would call convertible is not extraordinarily high in the city of San Francisco, or really anywhere around the region. It is the dream. If we could crack that code, I think conversion to residential would solve many of our downtown issues in particular, but it is much easier said than done.
That's why KB Home plans to demolish rather than convert the building at Bishop Ranch. It's a new way of looking at things, but Belisario says there is still plenty about the Bay Area to be optimistic about the future.
You look at all the metrics on AI companies and employment. We still have all the great universities here. We still beat Texas in the weather most days out of the year. So I think the opportunity now is how do we re-envision our downtowns, re-envision our land use policies so that we're not stifling that next wave of growth.
In 1906, the earthquake all but destroyed San Francisco, but it rose from the ashes to be something even greater, and there's no reason to believe it won't happen again.
Well, the current plan of Bishop Ranch is to build more than 8,000 new homes on the 858-acre property. That is enough to accommodate 25 to 30,000 residents. Lots of small businesses are still struggling to survive post-pandemic. Still ahead, we're going to show you how neighboring businesses in San Francisco are getting creative to provide a lifeline to each other.
We just want to work with someone we love and do something we believe in and bring the community together, but it was also a bit of a creative solution.
We're gearing up for more on and off showers with a chance of thunderstorm activity possible too with this exact same system. That'll continue moving down to the south into the afternoon hours today, leaving behind about 1/10 of an inch of rain throughout most of the Bay Area. A little bit less impressive numbers up into the North Bay, but Here's that system in full force as it moves its way to the south into the evening hours tonight. It leaves behind snow to the Sierra, rain for us here in the Bay Area, and we luckily clear up just in time for our Tuesday forecast. By Wednesday, though, we get another batch of showers rolling in from offshore. This one sweeping in from offshore is a cold front, and it has different characteristics to it. We'll still see gusty conditions. It happens into our afternoon and evening hours Wednesday night. That moves off to the south, and then we're left with beautiful conditions as we head into our Thursday, Friday, and Saturday forecast. You'll see that behind me in just a second. We're sitting in the 50s today throughout the Bay Area. We'll hit the 60s by tomorrow, gradually warming up day by day as we head into this weekend's forecast. And by early next week, as early as Sunday, actually, we'll see upper 60s along the bay. We'll see 70s return to our inland areas, and even some 80s as we head into next week on Monday. That's around the corner for us. For now, we're still dealing with this on and off shower setup for us today. Tomorrow is going to be a beautiful sunny day for us. Wednesday, we get that next level of showers moving in from offshore, and then we'll clear up as we head into this weekend's forecast.
Well, today, Front Street in downtown San Francisco is hosting a St. Patrick's Day block party. It's part of the city's Entertainment Zone initiative to boost business. The block party runs from 2 this afternoon until 10 o'clock tonight. Running a small business can be tough, especially in San Francisco. A coffee shop in Noe Valley was struggling to survive post-pandemic. The owner says dozens of customers move away, but then she found out she did not need to look far for help. Lorene Ayub shows us how a neighboring bookstore came to the rescue.
Every book on the shelf is a reflection of the community it serves. Kit Fitzgerald, co-owner of Noe Valley Books, is excited to replenish the shelves for her ever-evolving clientele in San Francisco's Noe Valley community.
By being a bookstore where you come in and the books are chosen because you have expressed interest in them and you know the people behind the counter and they know your name and they care about talking with you and understanding your interests, it really goes a long way.
But recently, this shop of hyper-local book curation is now getting a fresh dose of caffeination thanks to a collaboration with nearby Bernie's Coffee. The longtime coffee shop, located across the street, has become an annex for the bookstore.
It did start as a selfish desire of we just want to work with someone we love and do something we believe in and bring the community together, but it was also a bit of a creative solution to some issues.
Issues being a lack of space for their surplus of books and Bernie's Coffee in need of more financial support to stay afloat with foot traffic in the area changing.
Since everybody works remote, no one commutes. So instead of waking up and walking to Bernie's, getting your coffee, going to the J, getting on BART, getting on a shuttle, that just stopped happening. So life changes is what happened. And there's nothing you could do to control that. So I did my best working in here alone to keep it together. And the payoff is that now I'm collaborating with Noe Valley Books, and it just warms my heart.
And it keeps Kit warm too, going back and forth between the two locations. She says the mutually beneficial business concept is attracting new visitors.
To me, I love this place. I love the people I work with and the people who come in, and I love bookstores and always have.
And now this bookstore has visitors reading between the sips.
The two business owners are hoping to hold more community events, including highlighting authors and stories with connections to the Noe Valley neighborhood. Coming up our next half hour in CBS News Bay Area, it's a restaurant staple that's been recently hard to find.
Because, you know, the problem with the egg and the source, we don't have any egg in San Francisco.
With the national egg shortage has actually been good news for two local businesses from opposite sides of the bay. Plus, how proposed housing development could end up saving a landmark memorial in Lafayette. Ryan Yamamoto, this is The Minute. It's week 2 of the VTA strike in Santa Clara County. The transit agency calling on Governor Newsom to order employees back to work while talks continue. The union is demanding more money and better benefits. The VTA says the raise they are asking for would lead to service cuts and to layoffs. Today is the first day of early voting in Oakland's special election to choose a new mayor. Registered voters will begin receiving mail-in ballots as early as today. 10 candidates are on the ballot to replace ousted Mayor Cheng Tao. That special election is now set for April 15th. Well, today, crews are starting to remove sand from the northern part of Ocean Beach in San Francisco and dump it along the southern stretch. It's all part of an effort to fight erosion. The now closed stretch of the Great Highway will be the key route in moving the sand.
You're streaming CBS News Bay Area.
Well, it's a cool, cloudy, and wet day for us here in the Bay Area with on and off showers into the forecast throughout this afternoon. We will catch a break around lunchtime, but the atmosphere is still unstable, and we could see some thunderstorm activity into the evening hours tonight, widespread throughout the Bay Area. So we're going to see lots of on and off showers today, amounting close to around 1/100 of an inch of rain all the way up into the North Bay, at least near Fairfield. A little bit more impressive numbers all the way down into San Jose, Ben Lomond getting closer to 1/10 of an inch. But at least this system, as it continues to track to the south, moves off and we dry up as we head into our Tuesday forecast right around the corner tomorrow. It leaves behind snow to the Sierra, rain for us here in the Bay. We're going to catch a nice dry break tomorrow, but just when you think we're done with the rain, we get another batch of showers rolling in as we head into our Wednesday setup. And the characteristics are different with this system. It's more like a windshield wiper, this cold front sweeping in from offshore Wednesday evening. It'll bring in showers widespread throughout the Bay Area, but luckily it clears up as we head into Wednesday overnight hours, leaving behind cloudy skies for Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and by Sunday of next week, we're actually going to see a nice little warm up right around the corner. That will be the next big weather story around the corner. But for now, take a look at this. That's the Bay forecast behind me. Low 60s, cloudy skies as we wrap up this week, heading into this weekend. For our friends in our inland areas, we're sitting in the 50s today, warm up to the mid 60s as we head into Thursday and Friday. And by next week, we're talking about mid to upper 70s as early as Sunday and to Monday. We'll keep you updated on those rainfall totals here in the Bay Area for us today and Wednesday. Luckily, we dry up as we head into a beautiful weekend right around the corner.
Well, it's close to the real thing, but it does not come from chickens, with eggs being in short supply. Some are turning to egg alternatives. Sue Janam takes us inside a local manufacturer where they are scrambling to keep up with a sudden spike in demand.
It may look like an egg, but it's not. It's a vegan alternative made with mung beans.
The experiments we ran were in my buddy's studio apartment in Los Angeles.
Soon enough, Josh Tetrick found the protein sequences to create a texture similar to scrambled eggs. 3 years later, they launched this vegan alternative, Just Eggs, while continuing to test more recipes out of Emeryville.
And this machine over here spins it really fast. Fiber, fat, starch comes out. And then we're left with whole mung bean protein.
You may have seen the Just Eggs product when you're at the grocery store, sitting right by cartons of eggs. Well, probably now, mostly empty shelves due to the bird flu. But Josh says his business has been booming nationwide as more consumers are scrambling to buy egg alternatives.
Just Egg is growing 5 times faster today relative to the same period a year ago. It's also growing 5 times faster than chicken eggs.
Anecdotally, he's been hearing of more interest in egg alternatives overall.
The topic of egg prices came up, and they said, I saw this yellow carton. It was the only egg on the shelf, and I tried it, and it tasted like an egg.
According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the national average price for a dozen of eggs was $5.90 last month, nearly a $1 jump from January. And in California, the USDA reported that in March, the average price of a dozen eggs, $10.35. But the cost of chicken eggs hasn't impacted Rat Radish, a San Francisco vegan restaurant. In fact, they tell us the egg shortage has actually made them busier than ever.
It's been very popular like these 3 weeks because you know the problem with the egg and the source, we don't have any egg in San Francisco.
Carlos Suarez, the sous chef of Rat Radish, serves Just Egg in their dishes and says today's price of grocery store eggs pushes customers to try something new. And back here in Emeryville, Josh says with the impact of the bird flu, it opens up a greater conversation about environmental sustainability.
The good thing about using beans is you can pack them body to body in tiny little spaces, and they're never going to get the flu. They're never going to breathe on each other. So it allows us to make eggs in a more efficient way.
And it also shows that in a time of dwindling egg supply, families in the Bay Area and nationwide are resorting to alternatives to get that near perfect egg.
So, of course, the big question, what does it taste like? Suji says she did taste the difference, not the same density as real eggs and more similar to tofu. But overall, she gave it high marks. Health officials in a dozen Bay Area counties are issuing a joint warning urging people to make sure they are fully vaccinated against measles. The recommendation comes after a spike in measles cases across the country. There are now at least 320 cases so far. The cases include 2 deaths, the first deadly measles case in a decade. The measles vaccination rate has dropped below 95%, the threshold health experts say it needed to mitigate potential spread. Doctors are now trying to boost vaccination rates.
Getting vaccinated against measles is the single best way to protect yourself and your family against getting infected with measles.
There have been 5 reported measles cases statewide, all related to international travel. While the measles risk in the Bay Area is low, health officials urge people who are unsure if they received measles vaccines as children to check with their doctors. Well, if you ever travel through Lafayette and the East Bay, you've probably noticed the hundreds of white crosses meant to symbolize the toll of war. The homegrown memorial has been threatened in the past by developers, but now it looks like it may be saved by a developer.
Well, for years, there was kind of always this risk that, it was going to be sold or that we were going to be asked to take the memorial down. And so I think at that point, I sort of did take a leap of faith, in thinking that maybe I could do some housing back here and maybe preserve the memorial as part of that. I didn't see the reason why that needed to come down to do this.
Laura Dudo made a decision to buy the property. The development would build 15 single-family homes on the 3-acre property on the backside of the hill without touching the memorial. Some neighbors have taken issue with the plan, saying the new homes would block their view. However, state law has given the power to developers to build higher density housing without much interference from anyone. So the city has pretty much admitted that they have no authority to force any changes. March Madness is here, and one Bay Area school is headed to the big tournament. Coming up next, we're going to sit down for Selection Sunday from our state-of-the-art, brand new Bracket Mountain.
going to see a lot of instability throughout this afternoon, meaning on and off showers, a chance of thunderstorm activity throughout the afternoon and evening hours tonight. So as you're celebrating your St. Patty's Day, all the festivities going on outside, keep in mind it is still kind of wet out there too. Luckily, we dry up into our forecast tomorrow, leaving behind a 1/10 of an inch of rain at max throughout the Bay Area here locally. But that system moves its way to the south, and behind it, it leaves behind plenty of snow to the Sierra, plenty of rain for us here in the Bay. It's going to be a nice dry day for us tomorrow for our Tuesday forecast. Daytime highs right where they should be. It'll be a beautiful sunny day. We get one more day of showers in the forecast as we head into Wednesday, but that one looks a lot different for us, and it happens into the evening hours Wednesday night. I'll have more on this coming up in a bit. For now, over to you.
March Madness tip off with the St. Mary's as the only Bay Area school going to the NCAA tournament. Vern Glenn has more from Center Court following Selection Sunday.
This is the Northern California Honda Dealers Madness Minute.
St. Mary's is back in the big dance for the 4th straight year. The Gales are the 7th seed in the East region. They'll play Vanderbilt in the opening round Friday in Cleveland. And then, if they win, a potential second-round matchup with number 2 seed Alabama. Can St. Mary's use its tournament experience to their advantage?
I can tell you from experience that no matter how many times you've been in it, the first couple minutes on the court in the tournament, like, you are nervous as heck.
There's two different things here. There's March Madness, you're excited, yeah, rah, rah, rah. And then there's, you gotta play well. You want to win.
Here's a look at my Final Four on Bracken Mountain. Florida over Auburn in the semifinal. Houston over Arizona in the other. And then Florida over Houston to win the Natty. With the Madness Minute, I'm Vern Glenn.
Well, coming up, the Bay Area's newest basketball team getting ready to take the court. Meet the young baller and many like her who hope the franchise will help inspire the next generation of female athletes.
For me, basketball was a great outlet where I felt like I belonged and I had a community.
Gearing up for more on and off showers with a chance of thunderstorm activity possible too with this exact same system. That'll continue moving down to the south into the afternoon hours today, leaving behind about a 1/10 of an inch of rain throughout most of the Bay Area. A little bit less impressive numbers up into the North Bay, but Here's that system in full force as it moves its way to the south into the evening hours tonight. It leaves behind snow to the Sierra, rain for us here in the Bay Area, and we luckily clear up just in time for our Tuesday forecast. By Wednesday, though, we get another batch of showers rolling in from offshore. This one sweeping in from offshore is a cold front, and it has different characteristics to it. We'll still see gusty conditions. It happens into our afternoon and evening hours Wednesday night. That moves off to the south, and then we're left with beautiful conditions as we head into our Thursday, Friday, and Saturday forecast. You'll see that behind me in just a second. We're sitting in the 50s today throughout the Bay Area. We'll hit the 60s by tomorrow, gradually warming up day by day as we head into this weekend's forecast. And by early next week, as early as Sunday, actually, we'll see upper 60s along the bay. We'll see 70s return to our inland areas and even some 80s as we head into next week on Monday. That's around the corner for us. For now, we're still dealing with this on and off shower setup for us today. Tomorrow is going to be a beautiful sunny day for us. Wednesday, we get that next level of showers moving in from offshore, and then we'll clear up as we head into this weekend's forecast.
Well, this Women's History Month, the Golden State Valkyries have partnered with Kaiser Permanente to donate a portion of their uniform sales. $25 from every jersey purchase will go to the Warriors Community Foundation and support programs designed to empower Bay Area girls' life, health, activity, and lifestyles. Amanda Harry spoke with Valkyries leader in girls and sports about the impact of the program.
It's become a moving meditation for 18-year-old Ava Nicholas. Dribble, shoot, repeat. Nicholas has been playing basketball since she was 4 years old.
I think growing up, it was really special to me to have people who were working towards the same goal as me and having a community that supported me.
She just finished her final year of playing for Northgate High School in Walnut Creek. She's played for the last 14 years, beating the odds. A survey by the charity Women in Sport found about half of girls drop out of sports around puberty. That's double the number of boys that disengage from athletics. Nicholas says there was a time she thought about quitting.
I was definitely discouraged. On social media especially, there's like guys being like, oh, she's a girl, so she's not that good. Like, you see a lot of hate with like Caitlin Clark, like when she was on the rise. But I think that is really like impactful to young girls, especially because social media is such a big thing.
But instead of swerving, she stayed on course, and it changed her life for the better.
For me, basketball was a great outlet where I felt like I belonged and I had a community.
One of the Bay Area's newest professional sports teams, the Golden State Valkyries, will be using their uniforms to help girls like Nicholas stay in sport.
It's still wild to me to actually hold this.
$25 from each jersey sale will go to the Warriors Community Foundation to support programs that empower Bay Area girls to live healthy, active lifestyles. It's a partnership with Kaiser Permanente. President of the Valkyries, Jess Smith, says it was important for both organizations that their partnership benefit the community.
The societal outcomes for kids that stay in sport are high, and specifically women in sport as well. So we really look forward to this jersey meaning something more.
As a female Bay Area teen athlete, Nicholas was excited to hear about the program.
I think dedicating funds to these programs is really super special because it'll give, especially under-resourced communities, it'll give them a chance and opportunities to thrive, especially with how expensive materials and programs can be.
She knows the positive impact sports had on her upbringing, and she hopes this program and the representation of a local WNBA team will allow more girls to have a similar experience.
Taught me a lot of good life lessons about being a leader and speaking up and connecting with different people.
Supporting the theory, if you can see it, you can be it.
Well, we're highlighting a program in the North Bay that's helping young adults build the necessary skills for independent living on this Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month. Alex Glassberg has been attending workshops at Supportive Steps Services in Santa Rosa. Through art classes with instructor JC, Alex says he has learned skills to cope with stress, including expressing himself through art. Alex says learning other skills like personal care and domestic skills has brought him one step closer to reaching a long-term goal while navigating life's challenges with autism.
It's time for me to shine, which means it's time for me to move out and be myself as I could be.
I'm also neurodivergent as well, and I feel like a lot of the resources that I didn't receive as a kid, I'm able to kind of provide whatever level it is.
Alex has overcome some major hurdles and is taking some big steps these days. He has started working at a record store in Petaluma. You'll hear from his new boss and from Alex at work when we share his full story tonight at 5 on our evening edition. Well, thanks for streaming CBS News Bay Area. I'm Ryan Yamamoto. We'll be right back with your First Alert forecast and a look at your top stories.